stand tall. Words of blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall. Words of blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited mind sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts clean. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena, there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. In the ring we stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Will be heard. Will be heard. Will be heard.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Spartan SU Network. This is the show of shows, the Spartan Arena, when we talk about everything you can think of, from drama to women to little Groots to big Groots, whatever you want to think of. We talk about serious topics tonight, but I can't do this by myself. I gotta get my main man out here, my brother in arms. Of course, I'm talking about Groot, Little Groot, aka CBN, aka Black Dave, aka Little Paul. What's up, my man?
I'm doing good. Another crazy day. I'm glad to be alive. It is what it
Oh, don't get
is.
me started with that shit. Yeah, I know. Before we get into it, let's do a little house cleaning. We got Lady Novo, the beautiful, the best woman in the world of YouTube. Let's give a shout out to her. And we have, where is he? He's somewhere. Here he is. And we got Hayes third show. Welcome. Hopefully you prescribe. So,
What's going on,
David.
Hassan? Been a while.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I almost missed somebody. And we have Mariana in the building, as always, supporting and liking us. Hopefully share and prescribe. So,
Mhm.
David, I have a question
Yeah.
for you. I want to start.
Shoot.
You're a father, right?
hmm
You're a stepfather, right?
hmm
You're a grandfather, right?
hmm
You're a great grandfather too, right?
Nope.
Great 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 grandfather too.
That will be our pain, aka Moses.
All right, I want to before I let you have the floor, a little thing. I'm not a father. I'm straight open and fair. I want to be a father, just haven't found the right woman yet. Hopefully, someone is out there for me, crazy enough to deal with my crazy ass. Don't you even say a word, David. But I've been a stepfather. I know the challenges. Before I give this floor to David to have his open monologue, I want to say one thing. To be a father, in order for that, to be a stepfather is a special breed of man you need to be. Keep that in mind. So, as we continue this conversation, I want everybody to remember I want full respect to everybody who's talking, and I want no people bashing on comments, nothing like that. Let's keep it respectful. This is a serious conversation. I don't want it is go back and forth thing. So, David, the floor is yours, my man.
This is one of those type of topic. I'm not gonna lie. As many times it have been visited, there's so much you will learn from it. There's so much you will realize from it. Stepdad versus real dad. Interesting. There used to be a time when being a stepdad was honorable. That to be decades ago. Even being a dad was also an honorable thing. Right now, both titles are up in question for a lot of reasons. Now, based on my profession, I am a Christian, but I'm not the typical Christian. I'm not the contradicting, claim to be one, but never read the scripture. That is not me. I'm not that kind of individual. For a person like me who started reading the Bible at the age of 7, I'm aware of what it is to be a father. And I study on that, not just only reading the scripture, but I ask those who were successful parents in their household for multiple years. Those who were not only father, who was also stepfather, but they also adopt as well. Title that we haven't even talked about. And the requirement is not so simple. They all require you to have a level of principle and foundation. You gotta have a strong level of self awareness able to self-reflect, look at what you have gone through in your life, and use those as life lessons to teach the young generation. But these days now, to young men out there who are being a you shit right now. First, unless you're willing to do some kind of homework that I will highly recommend. Big for me. Because being a father is an honorable title, but it comes with a heavy responsibility. It's not something you can treat it lightly, but it's a heavy burden. And according to my favorite artist, Dax, they won't recognize what you have done until you're 6 feet under. Yet, though, you'll be replaced by somebody. But that's the reality we have in this society that we are living in right now. So it's hard to say which one is better between being a father or a stepfather. But yet, being a father is also in question as well. So how do we approach these? I would say it's clear and simple. What is your foundation? What kind of value system do you uphold close to you? Are you consistent with it? Is there any compromise? Do you take the time to sit down in a quiet space and write the principles that you govern your life? Check. Do you have a check and balance system in place just in case you find yourself stepping over the boundary? I say this because this is from my year throughout my youth. Speaking to a lot of elders, keyword elders, people who are respectable, something that have been lost. Their brain depicts their mind to become keyword wisdom, not just smart. In this present time, I'm not sure if it's safe to be a father, talking about stepfather. Okay, if you are a man of integrity, if you're a man of principle, I wonder if you have better choice here. Unless you gotta get your path or make a plan to see if you will have to relocate to another nation or so. Just to be honest. I don't, it's not. It's not a simple topic. But you really have to tread cautiously. Now I'm gonna tell you, but as the show goes on, I will give my point why I say what I say. And I hope that someone can take what I learned, my life experience, and make it even better for themselves. Look at this show on the road.
All right, David, I want to start with a very serious question. All right. Because the question that only a father slash stepfather can answer. Not just a father, not just a stepfather, someone who's both. Let's say you're in a scenario, all right? You're divorced with your ex, and the child is acting out, and the stepfather disciplined them. And I'm not talking about just this one yelled at him or anything. I mean, like he slapped cross, cross faced him, and pretty much slapped him so hard he can become back to Genghis Khan. How would you react?
Hmm.
I know it's not an easy question, but Still.
It's not going to be an easy question because I've been made aware of this type of scenario close to it or almost identical to it that lead to the child being unalive when actually living in Crown Height on my father's side of the neighborhood. And it happened a few blocks from where I live. I've seen on the news how fathers had to be left in the dark to hear the bad news. And when they do, you don't know how they're going to react. Now, to put myself in that scenario, the first question I'm going to ask, what did she do? Did she sign off to this? Was I made aware that these things going to happen when I'm not around? This is not even, I'm telling you guys, this is not a topic that you could just, oh, I'm going to. First and foremost, you have to check the temperature of your emotion. What would your emotion trigger you to do? What kind of individual are you when the restraint to your emotion get removed? Are you a person that need a couple of people to hold you down? Or you the kind of person to be put in a cage and lock up just in case you're about to explode? And when you do get on site and address the issue, how will you go about it? Are you going to interview both parties to find out what the reason behind it? And when you're able to find out the truth, how are you going to respond towards it? Mm. And what age the child is? Is it 12, 13, 14, 15?
Let me
The
ask
reason
this
I'm
question, David.
asking, go ahead, go ahead.
Because this is a more question for you because I have my own opinions. I'm gonna answer it after you put your 2 cents in it. Can a stepfather replace the biological father?
There are different variables for that to happen. And not all the variables have the same result. That's something that people need to understand. Shout out to my brother in the Man of Prestige, aka Ola. He always used to say every case is a case by case study. They're not all the same case. Every case got a different variable than the other case. So you have to tread lightly and be wise about how you choose your answer. If your biological father is a deadbeat, never took the time to help raise his kids, never been there emotionally, financially, or he locked up, refused to be a father, then that is one variable I would say he have a say. If the father is still around, still alive, and he do have some impact on his kids, question you need to ask. Did the stepfather set up a one-on-one meeting with the biological father to see what are the limitations, what he can or cannot do? Do you set a boundary just in case of if the child stepping out of line, out of bound, and it getting to the point where you feel like you have to put hand up? Would you suggest that let the stepfather call the original father come in to intervene and deal with the discipline? Because I saw that happen. Was there a mutual agreement on what kind of parenting style will be allowed on his kids
Mm.
when he's not
David,
around?
hang on before you finish this time. Let's get this guy in here really fast.
Okay.
You know, are you talking about brothers in arms? I'm calling on my main man, my boy, My armor vessel marine. What's going on, brother? Step up high. Did I say that right? Yeah, I did.
Semper Fidelis. Good to go, sir. How you doing? Good to see
How you
everybody.
doing, man?
What's going
All
on,
right.
boss man?
Before I give you the floor, let's David finish his thought, and I'll give you the floor after that. All
Ooh,
right.
Sure.
now that he's here, I gotta finish my stuff quicker because I want to hear what he gotta say.
I just
I'm
got
sorry.
here.
I know you just got here. I may be a nerd, but you're ultra nerdy. You worse than me, so I want to hear your intellect.
Okay.
All
But
right. So, boss man, the topic tonight is stepfather versus real dad. The question I gave to David, following to that was, he had a scenario that the stepfather beat the living shit out of the kid. He disciplined them for a reason. How would he react? And on top of that, can a stepfather can replace a biological father? The floor is yours. From
Oh,
I got the doozy, didn't I?
okay. All right. Let's start with the second question. So the second question be it, can a stepfather replace the biological father? Okay. And then I'm gonna ask for the first question again, and then just talk to me. Okay. So can a stepfather replace the biological father? Well, simple answer to that question is yes. And that's because of the word that you chose to use, which is father. Because the action of being a father is in and of itself an action for which a man is able to father a child or father a young lad. Any man can be a dad, but a real man is a father, just like in a situation where any woman can be a mom, but it takes a real woman to be a mother to a child. Okay. So the ER on the end of the word proposes or purports a action. So the ER on that suggests that someone is doing a performative action. So the fathering action can actually be performed by someone who's willing to step in and performatively perform that role. So, yes, someone can be a mother performing a mothering action, just like a man can provide a fathering action. So, in that case, yes, a stepfather can come in and be a father to a young lad in a sense that a biological father can do the same thing in his absence or in his stead or in the case of his abdication. Simple as that. If a man is willing to actually do so. Now, repeat to me the first scenario again.
The first scenario was the stepfather had to discipline the child.
Okay.
He busted his nose open, whatever. He physically disciplined them.
Okay.
How would you react?
Okay. This issue right here seems to be a really large, overly blown proportion, out of proportion situation. All right. So let's break it down for a second. I want to get out of the scenario and I want to get into the why of the scenario first. Okay. In most situations, the reason why there's even a stepfather in the situation in the first place is because the biological father is not there. So, barred that the biological father is not there for whatever reason, warrants or brings into the possibility of there being a stepfather there in the first place. So, one, if you, the biological father, were there in the first place, you wouldn't have to worry about a stepfather coming in the first place. That's one. Now, provided that you have a stepfather who is there providing discipline. Okay. Now, disciplinarians, men are naturally disciplinarians just in general. That's what we men do. We provide discipline. I don't know any man who's worth his salt that's not providing discipline within the house that he assumes. Period. Now, in the instance that a stepfather is coming in and taking ownership or rulership in a household, whether he's coming into a household and assuming, or children and that woman is coming into his household. There's dominionship that's basically taking place there. So yes, I would assume that that man is going to be taking disciplinary action. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. For men who are of the biological aspect to take issue with that, why is the question? And that's usually because of, yes, pride over their seed, over what they find to be theirs, which is rightfully so. However, the issue that I have is, one, why do you have a problem with that? Because if children were in your stead and disrespect is happening, and I'm just going to assume that the issue here is probably a normal situation of disrespect that usually happens when testosterone is running between two males. I'm just going to assume. And it's not a situation of just abuse. Okay? Because if it's just abuse, like a man just wakes up one day and says, I'm just going to just bloody a kid's nose for the day. Well, then that's just wrong, irrespective to who does it, right? Okay, so let's just say we're talking about a situation where the stepchild says something like something disrespectful, or does something disrespectful, and decides to physically challenge the authoritator of the house.
For example, his father says "fuck you" to. His kid said "fuck you" to their stepfather. There you go. That's a good example.
Okay, that still doesn't warrant a physical reprimand. Not entirely.
He
You
took the
did
car
something
without
else.
asking him.
Who?
The kid took the car without asking him.
Oh yeah, that might get it. Okay, all right. Let's just go with that. That type of physical it still may take some physicality, but wouldn't be a bloodying of the nose. But let's just say take the car, and then of course there's some "what the fuck are you doing" type situation, and then there's some more verbal interaction, and then of course I try to there's some correction, and of course you try to buck at me and some shit like that, and of course and then it escalates from there. Then yeah, I'm gonna take you down. So yeah, okay, cool, bet. Now let's say if that was in the reverse, and that happened in your home. What oftentimes I often try to explain to the biological fathers who are taking on, let's say, a stepchild in their own right, if that was happening in your house, in your driveway, in your situation, would you take that disrespect? Most of the time, what those men who are vibrato about all this, what they'll say is, well, I wouldn't ever take a woman and be a stepfather in the first place. Being a stepfather is being a step dummy in the first place. Well, then you just admitted to me by proxy that stepfather was correct by default. Because that type of situation is tenuous. And that what you would do in that type of situation is that you will correct that situation, because no child that you're feeding, clothing, providing for, no child is going to disrespect you in your home, especially one that you are providing for. Okay? It doesn't matter. Relation, it doesn't matter. Familial connection, it doesn't really matter. My own nephew-in-law in my house can't come into my house and say some off the cuff shit to his mother, his own mother, much less me. So I don't allow disrespect in my house, period. I don't care what child it is, whose child it is. And as men, we don't allow that shit in our space. So we talk this big game as men, but yet at the same time, it becomes a problem when other men try to correct in the village, you see. So I have a problem with men deciding to have a problem with men acting in accordance to a village mindset. So which is it, men? Which is it? Is it a village or is it not? So Would I personally have a problem with a man handling his business in his house because my child acted out of line? No, I would not. Because the first question I'm going to ask is, what did he do? Because if I have to have a conversation with another man about what happened to my son, my first question is, before I put my foot up the ass of the man who decided to go ahead and do this, I'm going to ask, what did my child do to deserve this? That's the fairest question to ask because you're going to assume that the adult has common sense to be able to provide rational thinking before inducing this type of punishment. And then you turn to your child and said, what did we learn? Good. Because if you tried that shit to a police officer, are you going to go to that police officer and say, you put your hands on my son? No, you're not. You learn lessons in the society, and sometimes it's better that another person teaches the lesson and your child lives versus running around here, saber rattling and prick rattling and chest bumping like uncouth goddamn gorillas. It's better for your child to learn the lesson and live another damn day than for you to catch a charge because you're trying to defend your honor when in actuality, your son needed to learn a fucking lesson about respect in another man's domain. Over.
Thank you, boss man. That was actually
Interesting.
very
Very interesting.
educating. Go ahead, David. We gotta say.
Um, I would have to partially agree, but if more so 70% agree what she's saying, which he got a solid point. Remember what I said earlier, it's a case by case subject because you gotta look at the variables. For one, for the father to leave that household, what would do the dynamic before that? Were they married or were they cohabited as a common law couple? That's one thing to look at. What was the issue that made the father not be around in that home? Was there some kind of ill will situation where there was a divorce or separation whereby, according to the law of the land, she was given sole custody of the child, but he don't allow us to have visitation? That's what you have to look at because I'm sure you're aware we had this topic about father trying to get custody of their kid for the past couple of years on multiple platforms. We talk about all the headache and the nightmare and the stress that come along with it. But that's not for every father out there. Another thing is the stepfather. What is his logic? What is his rationale? What are his principles that he stand by that allow him to ditch us such punishment? Because we can also know not all stepfather are the same. The same you can say all father are not the same either. I'm a dad. I'm a stepdad. I'm
Grandfather
constantly and a grandfather too. I'm
and
constantly
great
running
grandfather.
simulation. No, 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 no. That go down to Moses, aka our parent. You need to stop trying to pass that title. I ain't that extremely old. I'm in my 40s, man. Get the hell out of here. Please. Don't try to add 20 years to my own age. And I still look
Not
good
at
than most
60.
guys. No, I'm 40. And I still look good than most guys in my age group. So let's stop that right now. But this is something I'm always constantly thinking a lot. Because if you are men of principle, then you gonna understand if another person trying to dish out discipline. But you want to be aware of what kind of discipline if he dishing out, how long he's not going beyond his boundary to the point it's now becoming abusive. Because we all know that we have heard multiple stories in the past couple of years how things going down whereby the stepfather decided to get out of hand and bust the boy lip X, Y, Z. And we need to find out what went down. Either the boy was lying, or he was being disrespectful, or the boy was innocent, and the stepfather decided to take a vet. There's so many things, so many. This is why I say it's a case by case study.
I'm
But
gonna another.
before,
I'm gonna another twist to the story with
I
the
used to
dad.
say it's a general answer, but I thought to listen more and
It's
more.
not David. It's not a general
I know
answer.
it's I know it's not, but after listening to a lot of stories over the years, it had me put myself in the position how will you address any of these issues based on a scenario because it's not as simple as you want it to be.
It's not black
Again,
and white, unfortunately, David. Let's be honest
it's
here.
not.
So let's add another scenario. I'm going to use Boss Man as my example. All right. So Boss Man is the stepfather. I'm the father. I go up to Boss Man and go to him, "Hey, dude, why did you put your hands on my son?" And he returns to his scrawny little answer. No offense. Say, I love when he does that eyebrow. He goes, "Fuck you. It's my house. I don't have to answer you." Go ahead.
Hmm. Mortal Kombat. That's your answer.
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, as the stepfather, I'm sorry, you as the biological, that stepfather owes you an answer, especially if you guys are involved. Okay, that's not the way that should work at all. So, a little bit of background: I am a stepfather and a bio dad. Okay, so I'm both. I started out as a stepfather of two before I became a bio dad. Now, before I became ingrained or ingratiated into the stepfather role, I spoke to the biological father and sat down with him. I required a conversation with that man before I met the two of them, and I sat down with him and I explained to him how I roll, who I am, why I believe what I believe, what I am going to do. All right. Disciplinary is what I do. Okay. All right. I wear belts around my neck in my house if need be.
God damn.
Absolutely. Okay. You get one or you get 2 or 3 warnings with me, and then it's belts. Okay. I have them by name, brother: black, brown, and blue.
Oh my God!
And they feel a little bit differently depending on the punishment. I do not fuck around. All right. Um, and then, but I also mentioned to him that bottom line is that I will always keep the best interest of the children at heart and at paramount, and what I intend for the children. So he and I, we had an understanding. I mean, we were at the point where he and I were able to have a conversation. He was able to come over to my house and read to his son because he was a firefighter. So it wasn't like he worked extremely late hours and stuff. So on his days off or whatnot, of course, he can come over and chill with his kid. It wasn't like he was able to spend a heck of a whole lot of time with his kid. Now, that's just the understanding he and I had, but that's between he and I, and that was outside of my wife. In fact, he and I were having a conversation, and my wife walked in, and she was, oh shit, because she was shocked that he and I was even able to just sit and have a conversation. And I was like, hey, babe, I said I wanted to have a conversation. We're going to have a conversation. But given he's younger, I thought more would move away from it. No. Here's the thing. Because I am younger, I tend to use it as a last resort. But no, corporal punishment is an absolute in my household. Now that the kids are older, however, because of that, I don't have to use it as much. No, I can just look at you. And because I look at you, I look at you and I say, I'm disappointed in you. Because of that disappointment, now you almost feel that in a sense. Because now I'm in a stage of prepping you for, you're 3 years from almost being 18 at this point. So now I'm prepping you for adulthood at this point. But no, when you were younger, absolutely not. No. You got 2 or 3 times before, and I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of having the conversation with you. Why? Simply because of the fact that how many times do I have to say the same damn thing? My thought process is I could be walking, and if I tell you to stop, that means stop. Because if you don't understand that when I tell you the first time to do what I said the first time, that could be a difference between life or death. So sometimes, at what age do you stop corporal punishment? When it's no longer needed. It's different for every child. Some children don't need it. My oldest daughter, she stopped. I think she's about to be 20 now. So, she stopped around 12. My oldest son, he's about to be 16. He stopped a little bit later, maybe like 13. It just depends. They just respond differently, and it honestly really just depends. But I noticed as they got older, it became less frequent, and it became more and more about more severe and less frivolous things, like stealing something, or stealing something, or lying perpetually about the thing that you weren't supposed to do. And then a pattern of doing something that if you were to do this out in public, you could be imprisoned type thing as teenagers. Yeah. Or get into fights at school type thing, that type of stuff. Or skipping school type things that could bring the sheriff to the damn, house type shit, that type of thing. So understand that as they get a little bit older, the conversations change. But yes, younger, oh yeah. You got about 2 or 3 times me saying the same damn thing, and no, we're gonna debt that. We're gonna debt that quickly. And if you started earlier, you really won't have these problems. But me coming in at age 7 and 11, kind of had to come in like a wrecking ball to add some correction. Now, that also takes trust with the mother and the father, to which I was able to do that with the two of them at the same time. Which means communication, yes, trust, avid communication. And then afterwards, having that conversation with the children to explain, here's the why. And after that, I think they actually preferred the corporal punishment because they hated the lecture. They absolutely hated the lecture. Quite frankly, because you think I'm boring now, try sitting there explaining, me talking to them for like an hour and a half, explaining to them exactly the whole concept of the dissertation, of the process and the concept, the principles and the morals and the mores about why You just receive what you got and how you could do better and think positive. And let's not do this again. Right? Oh yeah, they hate the lecture. But I say all that to say that so discipline strategy was a non-negotiable when courting your wife. Yes, it was non-negotiable. I'm not going to be here's the thing. I'm not going to be responsible for raising and being
See, here's the
responsible.
thing, boss man. I'll cut you off a second. So not a lot of men has that privilege to talk to the girlfriend slash wife's ex. I didn't have that privilege when I was in that situation, you know, as stepfather. David, did you have that situation privilege?
Let's say this. I do think different from society. I ask that question a lot because I need to know the kind of values that they are standing. This is something I've always said about parenting. And I will say this to anybody, to all young men out there who want to be a parents, write down what value, what principle do you stand on first.
But David, that wasn't my question. My question was, did you have the same privilege that boss man had?
I have.
Okay, thank you.
I did. Like I said, I have, but the way I did it, I make sure I test a lot of women in my path to see what kind of thought process do you have when it comes to parenting. And if I pick up something that is where I don't call it red flags, I call it hazard signal. It become a hazard. And sometimes these women end up lying. That's another thing I'm aware right now. People will say, "Oh, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z," but learning from experience, you might want to wait and see the pattern because you can't fake the funks for so long until I don't know you just step up and show their true natures. And both men understand when I say that because we in society whereby people like to gaslight and tell you a false narrative until you see the real who they are in action.
Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong. One of the things my wife did, and mind you, we weren't married, and obviously in the beginning, it took us 2.5, almost 3 years before we got married. Um, we there were instances where we had disagreements, and what we did is we had those discussions in private, and then we corrected, moving forward. There were even times where she would even use, the fact that I was the disciplinarian. And she would say, okay, I'm the nice person. So you want to tell me the truth or take what he's offering? Which one?
You also mentioned you were cool with him at one point. Are you not cool with him anymore?
No. And the primary reason is not because he and I had a falling out. It's not really because they really had a falling out. The issue is that he basically up and decided to leave to go to a different country without so much as a conversation with his child or us.
So he bounced, in other words.
Correct.
That's kind of fucked up, to be honest with you.
Yes, the only reason why we knew that he actually was going to leave is because his child overheard him mentioning that he was leaving to go to a different country, and he had given his child a couple of his devices that he had over at his house, and my oldest son, he came back to us and said, Dad is going to Canada. And we were like, what? So then my wife called him and was like, oh yeah, we're going, I'm going to Tanzania, Africa. But we had no conversation. He had put himself on child support, dummy. And yeah, he put himself on child support. My wife didn't even put him on child support at all. He put himself on child support. They had an arranged agreement on how much money that he was providing her. And because he thought that he was giving her too much because of how much I was making, and how much I was providing in our lavish home or whatever that I provide, he thought that he should be providing less. Turns out that he was providing too little. So he put himself on child support.
What an idiot.
Dummy. He was an idiot. My wife was actually just being reasonable. All of the money that he was providing, she was allocating in a different account that was specific to the child. Okay. None of the money was going
David, hang
towards
on, you go next.
None of the money was going towards my house. My house was mine. I was providing everything else for the children and everything else. Literally, the money was literally going towards everything that was needed for needed for my oldest son. That was it. Literally, it was going separate. You could literally pull up receipts. And he put himself on child support. Dummy.
All
At
right,
any
David, go
rate,
ahead.
Yeah. First and foremost, you need to get that sound effect. When you say dummy, it say yeah, that one for sure. Second of all, I like I said before, this is a very awkward. So me hearing it, I'm like, wow. And I remember the leader turning talking about the word called child support. That is tricky, unstable water. And sometimes you got to ask yourself this question. There wasn't the advice that some divorce lawyers or children lawyers are saying, don't wait until your baby mom puts you on child support. Do that yourself first. And you start to question, is that advice outdated or there's something else that you're overlooking the big picture? Because that, like I said, this is not an easy topic to tread on. And a lot of things that Bossman is saying is totally correct. I can argue. I can argue to a certain degree if I see an angle that has been overlooked.
well,
But
here's
my question is this: for the guy who was the father, was there a issue whereby the value that you stand on and the conflicting with her value that lead to the separation? Because a lot of time we may overlook
the
when it comes
the
to
separation
okay,
of them
he's
two.
here. Yeah, because
Oh, I can tell you why they separated.
how you want to put this? I understand your case. But I'm talking about in multiple different cases where their value aligned at one point, or someone was being gaslighted about the value. That's something I was looking at because one, if your value system is based on solid principle, and you find that the one you had a child with had a false value system, you may want to have custody of that child, but based on every state is not the same,
Yeah,
which is shitty as hell.
yeah.
That puts you in a situation where you're more concerned of your child upbringing. And if she decide to get married, the question you want to ask, if that man value system is similar to yours, wow, that's the first. It's similar to yours or not, because I in the same position you at boss man, but I'm more scared of who I am. If I find that vice to get crossed. This is why sometimes I say I'm the kind of person should be locked up in a cage before I lose my cool.
You mean
Because
relative to the stepchildren?
relative to if my child is being
Oh, I
hit
see.
by the stepfather and it's unprovoked, it's uncalled
Got it.
for. Like I said, I need to be put in the cage before I find that one out. Because if you don't put me in the cage, I promise you, not even the army will stop me.
Well, here's the thing. Um, he, he and I even had conversations even post action, and he asked me, "What did he do?" I told him. He says, "Well, he shouldn't have did it." And I said, "I agree."
Because the situation like that happened for me, whereby the father came and he whooped her ass in front of me. for the simple fact that she disrespected me. He's in the army. And when I saw that, I was amazed because I wouldn't want to go that far. But even culturally speaking, that is more allowed for my culture, which is completely ironic.
I
And
sorry, go ahead.
and the thing is, when it comes to discipline, I had to question that thing for more than 3 to 4. I'm 46, about to be 40. I questioned that thing for more than 3 decades. Like, is it okay to go about it? And I had to revisit the scripture several times. I had to question myself, what are my limitations? Should I refrain from using my hand? Because, sheesh, the kind of hand I have, I can peel somebody's skin off if I rub my hand on somebody. So
Yeah,
imagine if I use my hand to hit a
yeah,
kid. That's why I call myself bear paw. Like,
yeah.
hello.
So one of the
So,
one
so
of the rules that one of the, yeah
go
one of
ahead.
the I understand your point. One of the rules that I use when it comes to this, because I'll be honest, like even I call him my bio son. Even now he receives you would call it corporal punishment, but like he gets stumps, and he's 3. He just turned 3 Sunday. And he's at a point now where he hears my voice and he stops cold. All right. So I'm already starting to get him to the point where my vocalizations pauses him at a point, right? Some of the training that I got from the Marine Corps, I'm starting to kind of incorporate it to some degree, but I'm getting there. Yeah, I know. Hey, but it works. All right, listen. But with some of that, what some of the tactics I use is the mindset of, if you're angry, it's never a time to use corporal punishment. Never when you're angry. Never. If you cannot focus on the thing and there are too many other things going on, never a time. Even if it's deserving in that moment, never a time. Because it's not fair to that child to address more than one issue, because I've been that child, abused, receiving whoopings for children being called other children's names while I was getting whooped, or beat rather. We're talking, have you guys ever seen those lattice fences? The wood lattice fences? Well, that person who did it, well, she's deceased now, so I can say it. My great aunt who did it didn't bend back the staples when she was using the wood panels to do so. I still have the scars from that.
What the fuck she thinks she is? McFoley?
Okay. If we want to talk about, how they used to do things and do things in Texas, yeah, they'd hit you with anything in Texas. Okay. I went to a school where they were allowed to hit you in Texas.
Yeah, something here in Greece too. They used to beat the shit out of me.
So, and so now understand that it was a sport in the 90s anyway. CPS didn't exist. Okay, I'm convinced CPS did not exist in the 90s. Okay, I'm sure it did. Okay, but I'm just convinced. Okay, because I done got my ass whooped with some of everything. Okay, so, and it been called by other people's names. Okay, I done got my ass whooped because I looked too much like my daddy, who turned out wasn't my dad 10 years later. Like, it's bad. So when I say that I understand the difference between targeted addressing an issue as opposed to blatant abuse, I've been that child in that place, wondering, I I just had a round bout with whoever I was with. And mind you, some of these people wasn't even my parent. Some of these people were aunts, cousins, great aunts, the guardian that my mom entrusted me to live with at some point, and she didn't even know that they were abusing me at the point in time. That type of shit. Right? Been that person. So I don't want to repeat. However, at the same time, I don't want to be that parent who's like, no, Johnny, I said no. Don't do that. Don't do that. No. I
Before
said
you
it.
move on,
I said it once. That's it. Proceed.
I want to kind of loop back what you said about the child support thing because that's interesting to me. Because I have a video and follow up with that before we 2 videos. I'm gonna play the first one first,
Sure.
then I'll play the second one right after that.
Oh, I love this lady.
Oh no.
This is my
Yeah.
homegirl.
Come on, bitch. I love this woman.
You're the one that's going to
Besides
pay
her.
him child support.
What?
Today. Yeah, you are.
He makes like 3 times as much money as I do. I have to give him my money.
It's for the child, so yes. But the good thing is, it's based on your income. You'll get credit for the other child that your 8-month-old, you'll get credit for that child. But yes, you are going to pay him child support. That's just the right thing to do. It's one child between the two of you, okay? And health insurance, I'm assuming you pay it.
Yes.
How much is it?
$66 a month.
And how much do you make a year?
$38,000.
Your child support obligation comes out to $423.69 plus the $66 you're going to reimburse him for health insurance.
$489.69.
Did you need me to repeat it?
I'm asking you, $489. I have to give him almost $500 a month.
Yeah, that's how it works. Did you really think that I was going to have him pay you child support?
No, I just wanted my baby.
Your first answer was no, so then you understand exactly why you have to pay child support. You're the one that's going to pay.
Wild it out here now. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, let me
her
go
and
first.
Jordan, you playing 8.
How much money is it that you make?
$8,000 a month.
$8,000 a month, and you don't give your son any money.
I left because I realized that he was for the streets. Let me have some more money because my baby
Ooh.
needs it. Like football, basketball, he does all of
Do
that.
you
You
really?
said 200 for football?
I said 500.
No, you said
You
200
said 200,
for
bitch.
football.
And then I have to buy equipment. So I
Oh,
need
you have to buy it?
500.
Okay, so it's what you need or what you looked up?
Son needs 500.
500. What about basketball?
Basketball probably about 300. I think I'm
You
gonna
came
put
here to
him in
waste my
karate
time.
too.
You just came here to waste my time. So
I
you
just
Got
want
it.
my son to be in everything. I just want him
It
to be
sounds like
great.
you want to tell me you want to put him in everything so you can get more money off of this man. And I'm sorry, I'm not here to play in your little petty game. I'm not going to do that. So you know what I'm going to do? Since you came here to waste my time, I'm going to make sure I don't waste any more of yours. I'm denying your request and dismissing this case. How much money is it?
Sounds like you
All
came
right.
here to waste my time.
She doesn't even fuck around. I like her. I like her, you know. But my point is, like, a lot of her cases, if you watch, I don't know if it's true or false or fake or whatever the case is.
No,
I don't
those are
care
real
about that.
cases.
Okay,
Oh,
there's
okay.
the real cases.
Yeah.
A lot of time, the man is taking care of his child.
Mhm.
I want to loop back to that because you said he volunteered child support at one point. Your wife's ex boyfriend, right?
Husband, ex-husband.
Ex-husband.
And
And you have
remember what I
Go ahead,
said
David.
that a divorce lawyer made that advice to a lot of fathers to put themselves on it before they get put on it. This coming from lead attorney and a few other divorce and children lawyer because based on the system and most of these they operate. So for him to do that, he must have heard that advice from somebody else and say, "You know what, I'm going to do that." Because remember, I said this topic has been spoke upon multiple times. New York State is not like Texas. Texas not like Detroit. That is a shitty ass state for real, for real. Then you go to Tennessee, and based on these jurisdiction, some of these laws need to get burned down with a flamethrower. I didn't say a match because
God damn,
the
David, you
elect.
went to extreme there, buddy.
Um. Okay, hold on. Let me walk into this one. I'm sure Baltimore heard that. You don't even know the lady. You never met the lady. She put your name on the birth certificate and say you're the father. You never met at all. You never seen the baby. And by default, you gotta pay child support.
Oh my God.
Wait, no,
That is the
no, no,
I have
truth.
no.
never heard of that story. So please educate
So
us.
BMU, we did a show on that a year or two ago on the BMU platform, and we played that video. It was actually a news video reporting how a man don't even know the woman at all, and somehow she know his name and put his name on the birth certificate to get child support and some benefit. And when time to get the thing rectified, it was on the news and friend to find out he never met her, don't even know her. They did a DNA test show that he is not even the father. So why is that happening? There's some states that have that bullshit law. Like I said, you
Okay,
can get hit with a flamethrower.
okay, wait a second, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna speak on that for a second. That man actually has a lawsuit against the hospital, and I'm gonna tell you why. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you why. Put Lady D's comment up there.
Which one?
How?
How?
Ooh, my
Mm-hmm.
bad.
Not how.
Let
Yeah.
me go ahead and school you real quick. Here we go. The hospital, first of all, let's go to the Social Security office just for 1 second. So the Social Security office needs what, ladies and gentlemen, in order to be able to provide a Social Security number?
Birth certificate?
The birth certificate, the certificate of birth from the hospital, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So Social Security office is off the hook on this. So that makes the hospital liable for determining and making sure that whoever is there to verify that they are verifying or assuming custody of the children or the child that is born, they're the ones who are responsible. I would say what? Authoritators in a sense. The hospital is stamping that certificate of birth saying that we saw these people here, they signed, and they took what? We witnessed, right?
Hmm.
Now, he wasn't there to sign his name, correct?
Mhm.
Hmm.
So that means they notarized a certificate of birth, a bill of lading for the most part, in maritime law, and they forged an illegal name of all capitalization, because when they put a name on the birth certificate, I'm sorry, certificate of birth, not birth certificate, certificate of birth, on the hospital's certificate, it's in all capitalization, which means that's a legal corporate document. When the hospital does that, they're putting your corporate entity on that document. So then they are then what? Notarizing it, right? So that's a lawsuit against a notary for the most part, right? And then going
Hmm.
to the federal government, which is the SSA. So that's 2 counts right there, right? And then for every year that for every year that child is born, for the most part, that's a new count. You following me?
I'm following you, nice and clear.
So essentially, and then that's against the hospital. Now, against that woman who put that name, who signed in that man's stead. Because when the hospital put that man's name on there, that hospital knew that that man wasn't even present in the room. So they shouldn't have even allowed that name to even be present. Then she signed the name in his absence. So then the hospital gets 3 counts. She gets 2 counts.
Could she go to jail for this?
Absolutely. And that hospital, whoever the doctor was and the nurse was,
Are they gonna lose their license?
bingo.
And this is
I'll be
something.
honest with you, I
Hold on,
work.
hold on. This is something we talked about almost 2 years ago on Black Men on Field Network, and why there was no law concerning paternity fraud. That's what I call it.
There are laws there. It's already there. I'm not speaking on this out of the side of my fucking neck. There's notary laws, there's paternity laws here. It's all part of the United States Code. If you are
And
a
why? Why?
notary, you have to witness the two people there to
The two
sign
parties just
before you
signed
notarize. It's already there.
it. You know, this sounds like a story back in the movie The Rock did a while back. Pinning game that they had to stamp and install it. It sounds like a similar case, like somebody bribes somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. I mean, even me, and again, I'm married. I helped I helped pull my son out of my wife. I see my birthmarks on my son coming out of her. And then this lady asked me, "Do you want to sign the birth certificate?"
Huh?
Yes. There's no law that makes a man sign the birth certificate. I could have walked out of there and said, this child does not belong to me. There's no law that makes a man sign a birth certificate.
Funny you said that, day, boss man, because I'm gonna play another video right now.
You are his father.
Oh, yeah. I got some friends. Hold on. See, it's straight up.
Now you were about to get tackled by Jerome.
I seen it.
You
Don't
better
beat me
let
up. Don't
somebody
beat me
know
up.
you need to do a flip. You.
No, the point of that
He
video
was like, "Don't
is
ever do that in front of me again. I will whoop your ass."
Now,
the point of my video is there are some men, including myself, boss man, David, and some others who want to be fathers and love to be a father, or are fathers and love it. Like that guy, he loves being a father. You can see he was excited. So, like, boss man said, they asked him, "Oh, do you want to sign a certificate?" Like, he was like, "Why are you asking me that question? Give me that fucking paper, bitch." He will sign it. No questions asked. Am I wrong or right, boss man?
no, you're right.
No,
So
you're
I
right.
think it's
Here's the
odd.
thing. I'm glad we're talking about it because that same lady had a case a couple of years back. And this was a man, I think he either served the Army or the Air Force. He did multiple tours. He came back. And he was given the bearer of bad news, whereby his 4 kids was not even his to begin with. And when I saw that, I'll be honest with you, I almost punched the TV screen
Don't do that to poor
because
kitty.
no. You not you maybe not understanding. These guys in the military, they've been signed up in the military so he can provide for his kid with no different format, right? You thought you had 4 kids with this woman. You go you go on multiple tours. You come back, they're the falling with you and your spouse. Divorce. You're hearing rumors about your 4 kids is not yours. You don't want to believe that shit. You come in this woman in court, have 4 of your kids tested, and to find out all 4 is not yours. I saw the look on that man's face. At the same time, I almost lost my personality. I thought myself I was switching to something that I'm not. I was like, is that what happened to me?
But David, that happened. Boss man,
I
back
will
when
not
this
be
happens,
myself at all.
David, that happens in the military
A lot.
9 out of 10 times. Am I wrong or boss man?
Instead of
Mhm.
9, I would say more like 8. But
8. Okay, I
yes,
was close enough.
yeah. Even with me being excited about my own experience. I mean, my birthmarks imprinted on my child, that was like, oh yeah, that baby's mine for real. Yep. There's no denying that one right there. But then, even with my excitement, still, I still wouldn't disagree with having paternity tests. Still, I don't disagree. My wife doesn't disagree with it, because there's paternity fraud all over the place. I still don't disagree with it per se. Especially for people, men who are active duty, absolutely, and even for women. Here you go, who are active duty, because you have women who are active duty with the husbands at home. Let's not forget about that. So, yes, I don't disagree with that. Not one bit. And for the women
Like
who and
a
the
great
women who are,
example. I'll use the Navy for example. Those women are called women rats for a reason on the ships. They,
yeah, okay. So I hate. Okay, I hate to do it. I hate to do it. Okay,
please do
so
it.
I hate to do it.
Here,
Okay.
hang on. Let me set you up.
All right, shots fired. Oh shit. Okay, so yeah, all right. So birth control. Listen, all right. So little known secret: when MEUs are set up, Marine Expeditionary Units are set up, where Marines are attached to Navy ships, and when they go onto ships and they go overboard, right? Not overboard, but on
See,
at sea. One of the primary requirements that the Navy corpsman has as a necessary item is birth control.
say again.
Birth control. It is a requirement. It's a requirement thing that they load on a ship, along
I
along
heard.
with along with commissary items, along with ammo, it is literally listed on the damn manifest as a thing to require, along with condoms. Yes, birth,
I'll make sure I
I
heard you
know.
right.
I know. I know.
birth
I know.
one
I know. You think
thing.
you want to clean all that earwax out and be like,
Yes,
huh?
it is one of the number one medical items that they require, along with along with flu shots. Okay, all right, and along with also other type of, you need a shot for a certain type of STI type shots. Yes,
Oh,
because they be getting it in on the ships.
I know they get it in. That part I don't. I am not denying that.
no,
I know
Okay,
it's
about
not.
that.
and
It's not.
yes, there
No,
are not very many
it's not getting
women. There are
in.
not very many women on the ships, but yes, the women are known to get around on the ships. Now, to keep it fair, because I'm objective, to keep it fair, the men get around with each other on the ships too. All right, we
Pause
do a
for
lot
one
of
second.
sharing on the ships.
David, kind of cup of tea.
Just to let you know, okay? So,
This is
I
went
heard
so
about it on the
sideways.
line.
It was so fucking fast.
just to let you know.
Hold on.
So,
I heard about it. I heard about it in the '90s, so it's not new. It's just that there was a joke whereby if you on the ship, ugly don't look ugly no more.
I'm telling you, okay? Some of the some of the some of the
Shut the fuck
some
up.
of the some of the worst some of the worst looking women start looking like Beyonce after a while. Okay, is what is told. Okay, I'm just saying.
So, boss man, let's be very honest from
Okay,
once. Were you known to get
Hold
around?
on, boss man. Hold on, boss man. If you don't believe what I'm saying, ask JT. He's a Navy man.
I'm a Marine Corps.
And who else
Even
again?
worse.
Another guy. Forgot his name. He's all the way. You will tell you that's the thing have been said about the
Paul,
Navy and
Mr. Bennett
Marines
said this
on
show
the
just
ship.
took a turn.
You're gonna say that a lot tonight. Name
But
a show, any show on YouTube that stays on topic through the whole show.
Oh, mine.
You just by yourself.
Well, hey.
But
Mama
no.
Mom,
You see, that's a good thing he brings this up because father and stepfather, that goes right in hand with that. Think about it. All of a sudden, you're married. She comes home from service. Honey, I'm knocked up. Like, what? Like, I had a little bit too much fun on my deployment.
No, what ends up
Bullshit.
happening is they come home and they're already pregnant, and then what ends up happening is they sleep with their husbands, and then oops, I'm pregnant. There you go. And it
But
I
my
know.
point is trying.
and then
Turn
the
around
baby
and get
kind of
that.
looks like the command in general.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Stepfather, real father thing in the military. How does that break? Can you break that down for us a little bit? How that works in the service, something like that.
Oh, you mean if you are let's say for instance all three parties are in the military, so you have the biological father is, let's say, a sergeant, and the stepdad. I'm sorry, the biological father is, let's say, a major, and the stepfather turns out to be the husband, which is the let's say a sergeant. Oh boy, it gets real interesting.
Oh, please educate us. I'm curious about this right now.
Well, the major gets demoted or brigged
Really?
because
God.
you committed adultery against your fellow brethren.
And that's all five branches,
That's
correct?
all. Yeah, in NJP for real, non-judicial punishment for real. Yes, you can actually get brigged for
Shit.
that, or you can get discharged for that. You can
Shit.
get
Honorable.
busted down all the way down to an O1 or an E1
A
quickly.
private branch, right?
Yeah.
Shit. Oof.
So how often do this actually happens during service? Oh shit! I don't like when he smiles. You were one of them. You were one of them, weren't you?
Um, Ghost, you don't trust boss man. Act Mandrell.
Oh, I trust
He
Bossman. That's
seen a
what
lot of
I want to
things.
hear from him.
Don't bring Mandrell here. Mandrell will tell you too much story. You will laugh.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
gonna smile and tell you it's quite ubiquitous.
Because I have heard stories from buddies of mine that they're in deployment and they get a little care practice, but it's not really a care practice, saying, "Hey, by the way, dude, this is not your son. I got bored and I fucked a mailman."
Okay, now we'll call this a brother on brother in crime. That happens a lot in the military. Period. Okay, because again, there's not a lot of women in the service in general, and the branches that you end up going into where there's not a lot of women in the first place, that happen, especially if there's not a lot of women. The ones that actually, sorry to fire shots. Sorry. The ones that don't act, the ones where there's not very many of them that actually
The nade?
meet the standard of should I say it nicely? The ones that meet the standard
Soldier.
of attraction, or a certain standard of physique, or standard of
Mhm.
countenance,
Lady
rather. There we
Never,
go.
you're wrong for that.
What they'll do is they will attract quite a bit of attention, and so therefore it turns out that they would actually, in some instances, if they don't have their faculties together, they end up in those situations quite a lot. Now, in the not so mingled categories, where you have a non-militant spouse with a militant spouse, now that type of situation where you just have a infidelis,
Mhm.
type of situation, that happens a lot more, because there's no punishment for the two individuals other than just divorcement. Okay. Right. To which, how does that work? I mean, it's just like any other situation. The government or the military doesn't really help you out with your, with your baby daddy, baby mama type of situation. They really don't help you out with that. The only thing the military might help you out with is with your divorcement, especially if it benefits them to get you divorced.
Mhm.
That's it.
The only one I was always curious how that would break down, and this was child support more than anything. Like I know this guy I used to work with. His wife and child are overseas. I think it's
Okay.
Romania. That
Okay.
was, and he's in the States.
Okay.
How would that work out?
Well, the military will ensure your child support is paid.
Okay.
That's it.
What about their civilians?
What do you mean if they're civilians? What do you mean?
Meaning they're not military. Let's say a plain person like you are now, a civilian. You've never been in the military,
Okay.
and you met this woman. You got married, or something didn't work out. She takes up and goes to Romania, or to Africa, to Canada, to Mexico, whatever country she picks.
Okay.
How the whole child support thing works then?
Oh, I see. So two civilians.
Correct.
Got it.
I'm
Okay,
curious.
like the current situation I'm currently in with my wife's,
Exactly. Yeah.
prior husband. Okay, that's easy. Let's see. He is $36,000 behind.
Holy shit.
He can't step foot in America without them taxing his ass.
So he
He better either stay there or don't go to a country where they can extradite his ass and use his passport and find him.
except he gets a different passport now.
How can you get a different passport
If he's in Canada, he can be
without turning in the passport and flagging a place where the only way you can actually get another passport is going to a place where there's extradition laws to be able to get a passport with agreement with America. Go on.
There's like my father, for example. I think Dave is one of them too, who has two passports. I can actually get two passports if I wanted to, and keep
Okay,
both.
two American passports.
No, one Greek, one American.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that if he uses the American passport anywhere,
I know that part I got. But he
okay.
can get a Canada passport at this point.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. But there's extradition laws in Canada. So be careful.
I'm not going to sit back and go push back and argue with you because I don't know. Only thing I do know, like Greece, for example, I can get a Greek passport and don't have to even mention I'm American.
Now, because he also still has an American passport, if you don't relinquish your passport or relinquish your citizenship, your dual citizenship in the States, guess what America still makes you do?
Pay
taxes.
So he's royally fucked up the ass.
Correct. So if you file taxes like you're supposed to, then anything you file gets siphoned back away.
Oops.
Like that random payment that she received.
It sounds like a very stressful situation to be in.
It's not. Because his son is doing just fine.
Not you, him.
Oh, for him, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Does he ever contact the kids now at this point?
He has his son's number.
Mm-hmm.
The last time that I checked on if they spoke was in October of last year.
Damn, this is like, what, 6 months ago?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How does the kid feel about this?
I'll say this right now.
I
don't think you want to ask that kid that question.
No, I have. I've asked.
He would.
Of course, I would ask that question. I've asked, and he has not asked the question as to why he left. My understanding is that he mourned his father's leaving for a while. His attitude and whole demeanor changed for a while, and I had to change my entire parenting style with him because of his mourning. Every day with this kid is a day of learning a kid, because that's why I view my role as a dad, a bio dad, and a stepdad differently, because yes, I have to come to terms with he's not mine. So my DNA, my thinking, my line of processing is not coded into him. So it's like learning a new individual as he's changing and developing. Yes, some of him is my wife, so some of it is there. I can learn him through my wife to some degree, but some of it is through another individual that never really got a chance to really learn, right? So I always have to always have some of it I can preemptively learn, but some of it I have to be reactive to observe. So I had to change my entire parenting style with him at one point. And so when I asked him about it, he also he's autistic as well, so he's also not very vocal. So what I have to do is when I say certain things, I have to word it in a way that allows for him to be able to respond, but also not bring it down in such a way where I'm trying to minimize it in a way that doesn't challenge him, because I'm not going to play into the things that the school does. I'm going to talk to you in a way that I expect for you to speak back to me, and I'm going to challenge you at 100% of the time. But I'm also going to try to bring it to a level to where it's not too challenging. So I also tell him, I said, listen, if there's something that I say and you don't understand what the hell I just said, I'm going to bring it up to you to tell me, please restate the prompt. Okay? So I'm not going to baby you. So with that in mind, I have to ask him in such a way of where I'm pulling something from him, but I need him to fully explain his feelings, because there's one thing he's not very good at explaining his feelings, because he keeps them he recluses a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked him. I said, so have you asked him why did he leave? He said no. And I said, okay, well, do you want to know how? Do you want to know why he left? Because I know that it made you feel a certain way. I could tell for like months you mourned. So you kept it internally, but you didn't say anything. So do you want to know? He said to me, no. I said, okay. I gave him advice on it. And I basically said, if you don't want to know because you don't care, you truly don't care, I don't judge you for it. I understand. But if you don't want to know because you are bottling it up and suppressing it, that's not good. And it's better for you to find out now than for you, while you have support here at home to get through it, than to blow up at someone later because of issues that you are unaware of it having some emotional kind of blow up later at somebody else later. I said, but the decision is yours. Now, I'm not going to make him do it, because the decision is his. I was 19 or 20 when I finally went to my own father and I said, okay, listen, you got one more time to tell me what happened between you and mom. I want the full story. Don't sugarcoat shit. Tell me what the hell she did. Okay. If she was a hoe, tell me she was a hoe. Just tell me what happened. Okay. And then I want to dead it so we can begin to have a relationship.
And how did you take that when you find out the truth?
To me, honestly, it helped, but I wouldn't have been able to take the truth if I didn't go through some shit with my mother first. Because there was one point in time in my life, you couldn't tell me anything about my mother. My mother was Mother Damn Teresa.
An angel, in other words, in your eyes.
It wasn't until I started experiencing issues with her, um, finding out that my dad wasn't my dad after 10 years. It wasn't until, you know, I started being treated a certain way because I wanted my own independence. It wasn't until I started rebuffing her and started telling her, about herself and wanted my own independence. So it wasn't until I started experiencing these things for myself. Then that's when he started telling me things that started to match some of the experiences that I was like, okay, all right, so I'm not crazy. Okay. Her throwing a
Just a little.
terracotta pot at your head, okay, makes sense. Okay. Makes
And
sense why
that's
you
why
want to
you said to
makes
me a
sense why you
while.
want to backhand her. Got her. Got it.
That's why you told me a while back your relationship with your family is not the greatest sometimes.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm the
I mean,
youngest. I'm the youngest of the youngest. So I'm the
oh,
babies. So my mother is the baby, and then I am the baby of all
of
the
a baby.
generation. So I'm the baby's baby,
Mm,
and then I'm also and if you want to add colorism into it, I'm the brightest of the entire two generations.
no shit.
God damn.
So then I'm the outcast, and then I'm the only one who chose. Of all the my generation was the only generation who decided to go to the military, and I'm the only one who decided to be a Marine. And then I was the only one who wasn't brought up around the family. I was brought up around other people who was outside of the outcast from the family. Okay, and then so I was the only of onlys, and I'm the only one who decided to say "fuck you" to the rest of the damn family. Okay,
Bossman, I gotta give you credit right now. And I mean this bar of my heart. After all you've been through with your family and everything,
yeah, fuck them.
what?
Yeah, fuck them.
Oh, I thought you said I fucked them. I'm like, what?
No, I agree
Hang
with
on.
you on that.
Let me finish, David. Hang on. Let me get you. Can have the floor in a second, and you can say whatever you want to Bossman you want. You came out, I think, better than anybody of those fuckers. No offense. I mean, your family still.
Appreciate it.
It, it's because you're educated. You speak intelligently. You did one of the most bravest thing in the world is become a Marine. You could have picked the Army or Navy or something like that. You picked the Marines, one of the toughest branch in our service, in the United States Army at least. You done things beyond expectation. So I would like to say to you from bar of my heart, as one of my really good friends, you fucking killed it, dude.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
David, go ahead.
Much
What you
respect
got
to
to
you.
say?
Thank you.
And
I'm
show me a
glad
cigar,
I'm
by the
hearing
way.
that story because I'm glad I'm hearing that because I remember I shared something almost close to that on a BMU network a few times in the past, where I've been told too many lies, I've been gaslighted. I had to bury my mom around November of 2023.
Hey, Navoa.
When that happened, I had mixed messages going to my mind. And this is the honest truth about me. When I saw my mom go 6 feet under and then put the dirt and everything, went to the church for the after service, I was looking at my brother like, what the hell are you crying for? In my mind, like really, for real, for real. I felt like a huge burden was lifted off my shoulder because that's something I told my mom. After she created too much division between my siblings, I warned her about this before that she passed. Do not expect me to fake the dynamic between me and my siblings when you have sowed seed for multiple years of division. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to fix it. Don't even dare expect me to do that when you pin my sibling against me and you've been gaslighting me. I made that super clear. My mom had been buried for more than a year and I still resent her. Did I forgive my mom? No. And another reason why, She wanted me to read that sowed division in my marriage to begin with. So when I say I am bear paw, my original nickname before that was Pitbull Hulk Smash. Meaning when I do lose my temper, I lose my cool, I'm guaranteed to not be a human being. Or my cousin or my relative know that already firsthand. Just they're about at least 10, 20 miles away from me for their own safety, for that apparent reason. Because I might be the nice, quiet guy, but when you do me dirty, you better leave the country. I hope I don't ever see you again. Because if I do, save you. That is my motto. And going to what I've been, I got to a place whereby I question it. Do I have hatred for females? No. But I have unfiltered rage against lying piece of shit beyond hell yeah. To be backed up, betrayed, lied, gaslight for more than 3 to 4 decades, to have blame put upon me. And when the truth comes out, I never got an apology. So I question if I'm cold hearted, am I stone hearted, or I'm more worse than a nuclear bomb. And you're not even gonna know it. It depends. This is why I say what I said, and and this is, I'm hoping everybody hear my voice. When I said I am beyond done with women in the United States, there's a reason behind that. I had to walk away from my ideology. And remember, Bossman said, "Don't go against your principle." I had to build my principles that I live by since the age of 13. And sometimes I try to compromise and I end up compromising a bit too much. So I'm in a place whereby there's no compromise. There would never be a compromise. If my value system, my principle, I got no pride, but I hate egotistic people beyond a passion. It's beyond loathing. If your value system is not matching mine, it's better you to stay far away from me. That is factual. Because as a father and a stepfather, I learned a lot of things and before I blame anybody, I blame myself for making. Just what I'm telling young men, before you ever think of having kids, take a book and start acting values do you have it written down and keep safe so you can look at that thing every day to check yourself because you don't want to make the mistake and have a child with someone who values don't match yours. And it puts you in a situation whereby you might have to get a 300 pound or 500 pound punching bag and at least whatever rage you had. I did that earlier in my 20s and I actually bust the one that had in BMTC. And everybody saw that and they think I'm a walking bomb, which I didn't get it, but I'd rather punch something that an object is not a living being than punching somebody knowing that I could be locked up for that and my hand is not registered. So I get where Bossman coming from. I have crossed that threshold a long time ago. So I keep myself for a reason because one, Do I have a trust issue? No, I don't like bullshit. I don't like to be gaslight. I want to play with my intelligence because when you do that, if I find out the truth, I can be not volatile, but I can be scary. Okay, I'll not let you know what I'm going to do. I can think I'm not going to do it. I'll wait for 2 years when you least expect it. When I decide, you know what? Let me make that rain check. And God forbid, I don't restrain myself. So that's why I say what I said. It is not something I want to venture in. Yes, I'm a stepdad. Do I want to be a stepdad again? Unless the Lord said I to do so, the answer is hell to the fuck no. Yeah, I don't like children. I love children. I'm very protective about it, but I'm not going to go down that route ever again.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm saying that, the reason I'm saying that because one, I don't trust women who violate don't match mine on this soil. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And because I'm in that position already, it's
Yeah.
you get what I'm coming from. I'm
Yeah, I
very,
do.
very, very, very principled about it.
Yep.
So the moment I sense you want to play mind games, I will ask you to disappear in another country. Don't be close to me again. Because if
Yep.
I see you, I'm not gonna treat you like a human being. That's just me.
So we're about to close, but I want to close out with one last question with you guys. Is how do you guys feel your child sees you as a stepfather versus the biological father?
Are you asking me? Are you asking us personally? Like,
Personally, yes.
okay. That's a tough one. That's a hard one. Because sometimes even I wonder that at times. I am in no disillusion that my stepchildren know. They are fully aware that I'm obviously not their biological. All right. Even so they're fully aware. However, the respect factor that they have for me for what I have done in the interim or in lieu of that individual not being there, one, plays a key role. One. Two, what I've done in my own right, I think means the world to them. I never, when I first came in, they were confused as to what to call me. They call me by my first name, by the way. They don't call me dad. They don't call me. In fact, my daughter, when she calls me, she's like, Dad. I'm like, oh shit, what do you want? I know a little heifer wants something whenever she's like, Dad. I'm like, all right, what do you want? And she's like, oh, nothing. And I'm like, yeah, you're up to something. What do you want?
Bullshit.
Bullshit. What do you want? Like, can you help me with my driver's test? I'm like, aha, there it is. So it's like, they love me in their own way. And I remember one time my oldest son, he had thought that I had slipped and fell down the steps. And he thought I fell. And he ran out his room and says, Dad, you okay? And that was the only time he'd ever called me dad. In the moment that he thought that I wasn't okay, he slipped up and he called me the thing that was the closest to him. You know what I mean? So when my daughter introduces me to people, she calls me dad. But in the house, she calls me my first name. Right? So when she my daughter now, she's engaged. And she thought it very important for me to meet me, for him to meet me. So, what am I saying? In their own way, the respect factor for who I am and what I have done, and the rite of passage that I have in their lives and what I've done, my pedigree, they have their own way of showing that to me. Will it? Can I say that it would ever be the same for who their biological fathers would be? Well, I don't know, because he's not here. He doesn't have that pedigree because he lost it at 7 and 11. And puberty he missed. But you have no problem calling him son. Do you feel they are more yours than they feel you are theirs? I think it's actually about equal. Actually, when I'm not here, my oldest, he looks for me. Like he'll go to my wife and ask, where's boss man? Like he's concerned about where I am. My daughter, however, she's usually a recluse in her room. But if I'm not around for too long or whatever, she's like, okay, where is he? Like, so they are very concerned about me to the degree of he's ours, as far as possessiveness, as far as this is what we're used to, this is what we're accustomed to, this is our family, this is ours, in a sense. And they are very protective of me, in a sense. So if my knee gives out when I'm on the way up the steps or whatever, my son has helped me. So has my daughter as well. So in a sense, I don't know if that answers the question. Do I think that they gravitate to me in a way that I think that some their biological would? I mean, in the way that I feel that they could, so far from what I can see, yes. That's just because what I have seen in other homes when I was, living in other people's homes with biological children, I've seen some of the same things. Teenagers will be teenagers. They recluse in their rooms and they come out when, for air, water and food. All right. Outside of playing one of their games or whatever, after a certain
And a ride.
age. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Again, you refer to them as son and daughter. Yes, I do. I am possessive over them. Yes, because I have a responsibility for them. That just is. The reason why I never made them refer to me as something more is because I didn't want to force that onto them as far as the whole title aspect, because I cared more about the respect than the title. In my home, it was about the respect, not so much of the title itself. Because at the very least, you will respect me because of the fact that I provided a roof over your head. At the very least, you will provide the respect to me because I provide food on the table. At the very least. At least that's the happy medium until more is progressed. Now more has progressed, but they have maintained the title, or at least the name anyway. The title never came, and that's that's perfectly fine with me relative to how we interact. They hug me, they give me kisses, whatever the case may be, like any
Hmm.
family would. Um, when we have Thanksgiving, Christmas dinners, or whatever the case may be, I am the only male in the household because you have, well, of course, besides the oldest son, of course, besides the youngest son, but as far as I am for the most part here in the house, pretty much the patriarch in a sense.
The alpha.
Yes. So they corral around me in that same way and same manner, in a sense, which is interesting. I haven't seen that, and to be in that kind of position. Well, I have seen it, but I'm saying for me to be in that kind of position as a step, in a sense, means something. To include with my nephew-in-law, he treats me like, oh my God, Uncle Boss Man, Uncle Boss Man. Like he calls me by my first name too, but he hits me with the uncle part, because he was younger when I met him, right? So it seems like an age kind of sort of thing, depending on the age of the person that you
Yeah, yeah,
ingratiate
yeah.
with, it
Yeah.
seems.
So let's get David in here for a minute. We're going to get our final thoughts after that.
Same question,
Yeah.
but the answer I'm going to give you guys is something that I'm thinking a lot of guys thinking. The moment I'm able to move from this situation and live on my own, that will be the ultimate test if the respect is still existing or not. Because remember what I said, I take being a father extremely, extremely serious. To me, is more than a badge of honor. It's something I consider sacred to me. It is why I don't beat around the bush about mentioning that word father. The kind of sacrifice you have to make, and sometimes you never get no reimbursement of that. Shout out to Dak with his song, like I said, How to Be a Man. Y'all need to listen to his song, listen to what Dak would say about what man really had to go through. The moment I'm able to see what I have done all the year, whether it's worth it or not, it's a test to see for myself if that respect is genuine or not. Because if it turned out not to be genuine, how would I feel or how I'm going to respond to that? It's a question I will have to ask myself each and every day. Would I live with regret? Would I be angry? Or take that a learning curve? Which is why I'm saying what I'm saying. Being a father is a blessing. It's a major responsibility. So not everyone should take that willingly. That's why I said write down the value you stand upon. Have it in something you can look at it every day. That pattern and say you want to be a father. You mistakenly make that choice with somebody who's not worth being the mother. You are bound to that soul. If I could go back in time, I will bitch slap my younger self. Say, don't even try it. Real talk. I'll make sure that slap knock him off its step. Say, don't go down that route. Because I don't think people understand what a honest, down to earth, dependable man go through when you become a father and you find out what all the sacrifice you make, all the effort you put it with all for naught. What I would do to you. Shoot. I know I will throw myself in the gym 24/7, 7 days a week. That will be my only therapy. And I'll wear a t-shirt. If you're a thought, run for your life. Don't come near me. If you're a woman, leave me the hell alone. I don't want to be bothered. Because the level of betrayal when you are a father makes a sacrifice and you put it to test and find out it was all for nothing. It does something to you. It really does. It will force you to question yourself where you dropped the ball at. Even though you didn't drop the ball, you still question yourself where you dropped the ball at. Because before you judge, you want to judge yourself first. And sometimes when you're not careful, you can overjudge yourself to the level to depression. I'm telling you, this topic is not a simple topic for me. Being both a father and a and a father and a stepfather and a grandfather on top of that.
So, David, call that your final thoughts.
That is my final thought. That is
All right.
something I'm just gonna have to step on every
All right,
day.
boss man. You're up.
Well, a lot was said tonight relative to the juxtaposition of stepdad versus real dad. I'll say this: being a father in general, being a dad in general, being responsible for another life is a responsibility. It is a chore. It is a joy, but as a chore first. In and of itself, and it should not be taken lightly. To be a head of a household, to be ahead of someone else's life before they're able to be progenitors of their own destiny and their own agency. It is a responsibility in and of itself. Now, with that in mind, my recommendation to anyone, any man moving forward in this life, yes, it is very true. This may be a shot, but here we go. It is very commonplace nowadays for women in America to have children. So it's very commonplace for the dating market for women to have children in the first place. So being a stepfather is very commonplace in a sense. So with that in mind, I would say that if you are going to go about that lifestyle of being a stepfather, before doing so, I would say, first of all, as a single man, develop yourself first. Invest in yourself before even one, venturing off into that and considering that. And then two, even having children of your own at all. Okay. Just do that. Invest in yourself. Women will come. That opportunity will come, whatever path you choose to go on to. Okay, because one thing's for sure and two things for certain is that you can't take care of anybody else if you can't take care of yourself. Okay, that's first and foremost. But understand that it's a duty and responsibility that comes with its own set of challenges to be a stepfather. That must be handled with care. It is very tenuous, and I'm not going to lie, it does come at a cost. Especially if you do not handle it carefully, and especially if you do not investigate the individual to which you decide to betroth yourself to. It can put you at a perilous situation if you get yourself involved with the wrong individual as well. So nothing is wrong with an individual as a man if you choose not to be with a woman who already has kids. There is nothing wrong with that if you decide to do so, and if you decide not to, if that's not your thing. Many women will say that you're not a real man if you don't want to take care of another man's kids. I don't see anything wrong with that if you decide not to. But I also don't think that you're any less of an individual mentally or psychologically if you decide to do so. I think that you could be an individual with some concerns if you make this a perpetual habit of going from one woman with children, with another woman with children, with another woman with children. you're not making sound decisions. If that is something that you choose to do on a repetitive basis, it is not smart to do that for yourself and for the children as well. So I'd say to be wise and decisive about who you decide to connect yourself with. Be mindful if that's the path you decide to go on. And there's nothing degrading about the decision, but it should be handled with care. Because after all, the most important aspect of it, yes, is you, but also the children are affected too by your decision or your lack of decision as well. Okay? Because I think in these conversations, people forget that at the end of the day, what you choose to do and how you choose to maneuver in all of this, the children are affected at the end of the day. What about how the life of the children turn out because you chose to make a petulant decision? You chose to, go into it eyes wide shut versus eyes wide open. You decided to focus on the woman, not recognizing that it came with a full package. The woman told you that you didn't have to worry about the children, but she was foolish into believing and thinking that she could give you herself without giving you the children too. Understand that, yes, as men, we're going to be disciplinaries. That's in our nature. Whether we provide some type of some type of discipline, whether it's verbal or even corporal punishment. We have to regulate ourselves. We have to regulate the relationship with our significant others, and we have to regulate the relationship and the interaction between ourselves and the children and the mothers. Because believe it or not, as men raising boys, whether they're ours or not biologically, if we're going to be held responsible for the outcome of them, then there's going to have to be some sort of control mechanism. And yes, boys with their mothers, 9 times out of 10, they always challenge their mothers, especially once they get sick of their bullshit. And so who is going to be responsible for tempering that young man? And 9 times out of 10, the closest man is going to be the one who is going to be pointed, who is going to have the finger pointed at them, irrespective to if they are biological or not. And it's generally the one who's provided the roof over the head of that child the longest. So I'd say be mindful, be careful, be selective, and be intentful and intentional with your decisions that you make. And be selective with your resources. And be wise with your decision. Be objective.
Bossman, thank you so much. And David, thank you. Bossman said it. I cannot have nothing more to add to that. It just be conscious of what you do and say when another human being is involved, a child specifically. Let's do a quick schedule update and let's get the hell out of here. So, this week we're talking about Saturday. We're going to be talking about Mask, Heroes in Disguise. No, not Transformers, something different. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't.
Did you say masks?
Mask. M-A-S-K is spelled.
And what in disguise?
They're, God, I gotta educate you. So, here's the rundown. Mask was a special organization that, hang on, let me get this guy back in here because he's waving his hands. Go ahead, David. Put your mic down and talk like a human being, like a big boy.
All right. Okay. Max is a cartoon slash anime, old school kind of back in the 80s, whereby they put on the powerful Mac that convert their vehicle to ultra powerful vehicle. It'll be a truck, plane, whatever, and it's an ongoing battle between two different organizations. One is the villain, one is the good guy. That kind of thing. It's old school for real, for real. And it put to be on
It's
our
good. It's
show,
good.
so
It didn't do that well, but I think I liked it. But let's see. Hold the
Interesting.
conversation Saturday. Sunday I don't have a title yet. I know Paul just texted me, but I got to get back to you guys. I don't want to announce anything until I'm positive.
and
So
there's a slight chance back to show on Saturday.
yeah, good luck with that one. I know the CEO of the channel and the
Uh,
director and the
there's,
producer.
not, there's nothing what duct tape cannot do.
You've
David,
reached the limit.
You've reached your
Oh,
limit
there
on
it is.
talking. Shut the fuck up.
I'm actually surprised. I only had to use it twice on David tonight.
You haven't used it on me tonight.
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
You open your big mouth. And on Wednesday, David is talking about one of my animes I grew up on, Outlaw Star. Good luck. You're going to need that one. And next week, we're talking about I'm going old school on you guys now. I am taking a title from Motivation Mondays when I used to do those shows. Yes, from Motivation Mondays. I'm going back old school, you guys. Time to step up. That's all I'm going to leave it to that. So, David,
Step
anything
up
else?
to what?
We'll find out next week. Stay
That kind of
tuned.
step up. I'm looking
David,
Saturday and next
anything
week's
else
show.
before we go?
You guys, please watch yesterday's show. It's comical, and I invite the heat. I invite the smoke. Whatever anime we talking about, if it's your favorite, hope and pray it does well. If not, it shall get the heat. Pun intended.
Bossman, anything else, my little Marine? The fucked up part is we're both the same height and same size.
I don't know about that same size part, but we're both the same height.
Oh.
No, we're about actually. I think I weigh more than you right now. So anyway, guys, as always, this was the Sparta HQ Network. I am Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter. He is Boss Man. He is David. Stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.